Hello and welcome back to the Bucket Bros. As always, I'm your host, Ronnie West, and I am joined by Mr. Bobby Marsico. We are
Hello,
here.
everybody.
It's been a little bit. We both have been living some crazy regular life stuff. But yeah, we're back, and poof, like that. It's almost the end of the season. Like, what in the heck happened? Like, this is nuts. Yeah. Any quick takeaways? What are your thoughts? I think we've got a couple injuries. Any big news that you want to hit on first before we kind of dig into this?
Yeah, I just can't believe it's still the regular season, like this is really still happening. I guess games are happening. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of watching them, but let's go playoff. Come on, I'm ready. I'm ready for the real deal, everybody.
Yeah, that's when the stuff starts, and we're getting close. We're about what, 10 games away? It looks like
Yeah,
eight
I
to
believe
10, 8 to 12, depending on the team.
8 to 10 is the current range right now for
All
games
right.
remaining, and I don't know that necessarily includes like all the games that have finished tonight. So there may be based on the time this is being recorded, it may feel like it's off by one by the time it's listened to.
No, I think the last where we left off was kind of this Jokic SGA MVP, and obviously we've got the Luca Laker LeBron LeGroin lay always injured in March before the playoffs. Lakers. Where do you see? Do you want to get into the MVP debate? Do you want to talk about the Eastern Conference and how we were just talking about how you're surprised about the Hawks being at the 7th seed? I'm kind of curious if that's something you want to get into. Is there, or your beloved Bulls in the play-in tournament? We've got my T-Wolves probably right around the same spot. So we can play like basketball Yahtzee here. Where do you think the dice should land, and where do you think we should start?
You're just trying to get me riled up for another Jokic rant. I see what you're doing.
I always know that's
I
a
got
good
one in
place
the
to start. That's always a
I,
good place to
I
start, and
got
then
one
we
in
can
the
kind of
tank.
go from there.
No, I don't have any new information. You guys all know it already. But I think, how about this? Why don't we do some power rankings
Ooh.
as it pertains to the end of the season? I think what in
I
particular
did.
you
I
created some power
compiled a
rankings,
power
right?
rankings, yes. So I'm definitely
Okay.
curious to get your thoughts. As like we said, as we sit here just before the playoffs, and this is kind of the power rankings of who I trust, like the trust I have in this team to ride them. If I was to kind of if I wasn't a Timberwolves fan and had carte blanche on any team, like who would I jump on their bandwagon? Like this is that kind of power rankings. So here I even got the graphic for it. So this is Ronnie's power rankings, and we will get started. And my number 15 team, I did a top 15. We don't need to go full in. I'm not doing the 76ers. I saw they like 96% of their salary is on the bench um, after having a crazy, remarkable time. But in any case, I'm going to start with number 15, and only because we got the old heads. Uh, not that one. Hide that one. Hide. Oh, too much. Too much. It's this one. The Clippers at 15. Um, I'm trying to keep this so I can update it as we go. Uh, Kawhi Leonard seems to be healthy. Harden and him seem to be working somewhat. Right now, they are the 6th seed. They're 10 games up. They definitely started out of the gate a little rough, but they've definitely gotten better over this last, I want to say, 30 games, kind of finding that groove with them. So that's kind of where I sit the Sixers right now. They are the 6th seed, so that's kind of low on a power ranking. Um, Let me throw to you any thoughts on the Los Angeles Clippers at 15.
Well, let's see. Going into the end of the season, I think 15 is a good spot for them. I didn't quite go backwards 1 through 15 like you did. If I'm actually I almost wish we did this a little differently. I almost wish that we did it where we did it by conference, but we can stick to all NBA here.
All NBA.
As of as of right now, the Clippers are ranked by ESPN BPI as the ninth strongest team in the league.
I'm gonna keep track of this.
Let's see. They are projected to finish right behind the Grizzlies and right ahead of the Warriors, which put them at the. Gotta count, folks, because I was unprepared. One,
Still the
2,
six.
3, 4, 5, the 6th seed. So just to skip out on the play-in. I mean, their strength of schedule is kind of like middle tier, below average. It's the 17th. They actually do play the Warriors, which is going to be a huge game. And they do play the Cavs. They do play the Rockets. I am going to be interested to see their games against the Kings and the Mavs as well. Actually, two games against the Mavs. I take that back. Not that the Magic game won't be interesting because the Magic got a little bit to play for too, and they're always a tough squad. They can turn it up on any night. But as for the Clippers, if I had to really, really take my guess, I'm going to go ahead and say that they are going to be fighting in the play-in. That's my projection. They're going to be either the 7 or 8 in the play-in. And I project not only that, but I do think that they're going to be up against the Warriors. And
Ooh.
yeah. And which is going to be a great matchup. So you think I think you already know where I'm going with this, going further up the
Well,
list.
yeah,
But
I'm like, there's only one other team that jumps into that 6th seed if the Clippers are playing the Warriors.
oh yeah,
So that'd be my beloveds.
and my guess is that the Warriors, assuming health, will win that game. Um, which will put the Clippers fighting for that 8th seed. And to be honest, I think they're going to get it. So that would be. I know
That
you're
would
kind
be
of doing it by
15
power
then.
rankings. Yeah. I know. Well, yeah. I guess so. I know you're doing it by power rankings. I'm kind of doing it by how I see them, how it panning out in
How
the
you
standings
seize
for
it.
the end of the
How you
season, but
seize it.
how I sees it.
No, that's
And yeah, I think that would be my 7-8 out west. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I put them. You're right. I guess that puts them. No, you know what? It doesn't put them 15 because where these playing teams in the West pan out versus the East. It's actually. I would actually, if that's the case, I would be putting the Clippers a little bit higher. They would be
well
more
then
like
let's
they
well
would be
obviously
probably
this
more like a 13 for me.
okay. Well, we could have written this down, but that's fine because then that kind of leads me in, which works out very well with our pre-show discussion that we had, and let's see if it updates it. I have the Hawks at the 14 seed, and you were surprised at them at the 7 in the East. So if the Clippers are the 8 in the West, like to me, I just love Trae Young's assists, Dyson Daniels' defense, the role players, and granted, yes, Kawhi has definitely been much more seasoned, and as well as James Harden. But to me, there's still those issues of defense, and I just feel if I was to put those two teams up against each other in a 7-game series, who would I have? My my heart and most of my brain wants to say the Hawks, but I know that it would probably be super tight, and that's why I put them there. But yeah, I'm awaiting your disapproval and knocking them down even farther.
Well, don't frame it so harshly. I mean, so ESPN BPI ranks them at 20 in the power
Ooh,
rankings, and
okay.
according to the ESPN metrics, also they're projected to finish behind the Pistons in the standings, which I believe is the seventh seed. Yeah. So and if you look at the standings, they're I mean, barring something like extreme happening. I mean, I know the Bucks are falling on tough times right now, but I don't project the Hawks to necessarily go on a big run right now, and the Bucks to simultaneously take a huge hit, or the Pistons for that matter. And so I think the Hawks will be comfortable at this 7 or 8 seed. They're going to finish one or the other. I'm going to put them at 8 to finish the season. But and so either way, they're going to be playing for that first play-in spot. With them, with Jalen Johnson being injured, that's obviously that on both ends of the floor, their game has taken a hit. They were doing a lot better early in the season before the injuries and then before they made this trade. And we talked about the trade before with that involved Lodi involved the Cavs, and I just kind of like how I was like upset that the Cavs had to get rid of LeVert, but then how awkwardly he fits on the Hawks with like the rest of that roster. And so right now they're like really like guard and like small wing heavy, and Trae Young's already having or has been having a bit of a down season for him anyway. And so I think the Magic are going to pull it out for the rest of the season to get them into that 7 spot. But either way, it's going to be a Hawks Orlando matchup, it seems like. So I'm picking Orlando for the 7th seed. When it comes back down to the 8th seed, to be honest, I still am not confident in the Hawks. Maybe if you just want to look at one individual player carrying the team through one game, a win or go home game, Trae Young is the guy to put your chips on. But the Bulls are just so hot right now, and they're playing like they got something to play for. It's not true, but that's how they're playing anyway. And so I'm going to say
young
that the
G
Bulls,
Leaguers.
yeah, I'm going to say that the Bulls squeak in with that 8th seed, meaning that they have to win a game against Miami, who also, by the way, is playing like they got a lot to prove. Andrew Wiggins, man, he's having some big games lately.
Yeah,
Where was that Andrew Wiggins the past 5 to 10 years?
That's the thing. It's like there's no scrutiny, there's no eyeballs on him. He can finally kind of flourish. And granted, the only reason he had eyeballs in Minnesota was because he was a part of that Kevin Love trade. So for LeBron going back to Cleveland. So I think they're going to have some better play in the future. This might not be their year. And as you see, I put the Magic in as my 13. Just above the Hawks, because I think they're finally getting healthy. I think I picked them as the 2 seed in the East at the beginning of the year if they would have stayed healthy, minus like every single one of their starters going down at some point this season. So definitely not where I thought they would be. But I think I agree with you as far as the Magic being able to move up. I having them better than the Hawks, I think they're better. But from there, I think there's a lot of Western Conference teams that are probably going to be better before any of the core. And before I put it, I think the Dame injury kind of knocks the Bucks out of this. I don't have them kind of listed here just because, to me, I think if he's not playing through the playoffs and you have Kuzma as your number 2, I just don't see them being I can't trust them. And I think that's what I went off of this list. To me, of the teams that I already have there, it's just like I just don't see them being able to pull through. It's not Greece. Giannis can't pull this team. There's no country pride that he's playing with to carry this Milwaukee Bucks team. So
yeah, I mean, I could see you keeping them out of your top 15 power rankings. But the one thing, the saving grace for Milwaukee, I guess, is somewhat strength of schedule. That said, a game against the Pistons, 2 games against the Pistons to close the season is going to be huge for them. The Knicks aren't going to be easy. The T-Wolves aren't going to be easy. And then in general, I mean, even like the teams that are like in the lower ending of the standings, like the Magic, the Suns, the Hawks, these are all teams that are vying for these play-in spots. And so, I mean, it's certainly going to be like a really good opportunity for us to just watch Giannis go absolutely nuts and try to take over game after game pre-playoffs. Certainly not sustainable, but yeah, without Dame, I do think that they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be the 6th seed, just based on where the standings are right now. I mean, maybe can squeak out that 5 spot, but I think it's going to be tough. And so anyway, we'll keep going up the standings and talk about who they're going to be facing. But yeah, I think they're going to slide their way into the playoffs, but I don't expect too much noise after that.
All right, that makes sense. That's kind of similar to what I have here. I think the next one's going to kind of surprise you, only because it's my team. The Timberwolves, I have at 12. I think they're, like I've said from the get-go, their ceiling is the 6th seed, and they're playing right for it. So I'm like, it's one of those for me, they're playing right to what my preseason hope was. And this, if 12 split it in half, that's kind of puts them in the same spot. So yeah, my Timberwolves are the 12. They've been playing better as of late. I think since Julius Randle's come back, they've lost 2 of like the 15 games he's played since he's returned from injury. I know Dante's been playing a lot better. Naz Reid now in a contract year. He didn't sign a restructured contract for next year. He's going to go in the free agency. So I think he's playing with a little fire in his belly to kind of get that cash. So I think this team is ripe to have some fun in the playoffs. If you're not expecting them to do, like, I'm not expecting them to be the 2 seed and make a run. Like, to me, if they win a series, if we line up and if we get that 6th seed, and hoping that we can kind of match up maybe with the Nuggets to kind of have a run it back like we did last year. I think it makes it exciting, but also I'm being Minnesota perspective and realizing that, like, we're not going to win the championship this year. This team isn't built to win the way that it's set up currently. It needs more time to kind of develop, but hey, let's have some fun, and hopefully they can do something. And if for whatever reason this flames out in a 4-game sweep, I also wouldn't be very surprised either. So that's kind of where I have the Timberwolves.
Yeah, interesting. So, I mean, as you know, I kind of already put them a little bit higher. I put them as making the playoffs outright at the 6th seed. They are 1 game behind the Warriors and the Clippers in the loss column, 32 wins. But, strength of schedule, as we know, is on their side still. Not to say that they don't have tough games coming up. I think
it doesn't look easy. A couple games against the Nets and the Jazz, but like outside of that, like,
well, don't forget the Sixers too.
Yeah, the Sixers.
But yeah, the Suns are gunning for them. They're going to be playing both the Pistons and the Bucks. We talked about them. Those games against the Grizzlies and the Nuggets are going to be tough as well. Although, I mean, if there is a team for them to beat, it would be out west. It would be those 2. So as we know, they tend to match up well against the Nuggets. I think I've said in a previous episode, I don't think the Nuggets are going to go very easy on them that 2nd game, based on how the last one went, and just based on all the history that they've had over the past couple seasons now. But they're a hot team. I know that they didn't win all the games that we felt like maybe they should have won in the past 10, but they're when teams are kind of like, you just see this pattern over and over again. When teams are hot like this to finish the season, I'm gonna kind of I'm gonna give them the nod and they are playing particularly well together. There are some deficiencies that team has. We've talked about them aplenty, especially on the offensive end, and just not being like that top 5 defensive team that we want them to be. Yeah, in terms of a regular season final push, I'm giving them the edge.